A lot of people wonder what it's like to actually watch me do the whole course of the job. Most of my videos, I'm only ever showing you the action parts where you're seeing me actually spray the nest and remove it. So today I thought I'd change it up a little bit, kind of show you the whole process of me doing the job. So here, what you see is me going through and looking for the right tools. I've already put on my suit. I have a triple ply bee jacket that I wear. I don't actually remember the name brand of mine anymore because it's about 5 years old. I do like Ultra Breeze though. I've purchased that for my techs and it works really well. They use a brass zipper. And mind you, I never review things that are given to me. I always buy stuff that I review. That way I can be objective with it. And here we have some sting-proof gloves that I'm putting on. And these are actually kind of hard to purchase whenever you work in them 15 to 20 times a day because I go through gloves just like crazy. It's really hard to find a good pair of gloves. You have to balance, because you go through them so fast, you have to balance longevity with them against cost, because a really expensive pair of gloves isn't going to last that long. Whereas a pair of cheap gloves might be too cheap and they'll fall apart really quickly. I've had some where you buy them and the leather comes apart and stuff like that. So a lot of times what I get gloves where you get vulnerable to being stung in the wrist, and that's why you just saw me putting on that sweat band on my wrist. And that's sort of a trick that I learned over the years to keep yourself from getting stung in the wrist. You get that sweat band and you put it around there so that way you don't get stung. And here I got to load some dust into my sprayer. That's an old DDT duster from 1938 that I use. I don't use it on all the jobs anymore, but for this job I have a battery duster. It had broken, and so it wasn't working anymore for me to typically do it on the job like what I would normally do. So I had to sort of go back to old reliable there and use the actual pump duster. And I sent off the battery duster. It got repaired and stuff, so I'm back to using it now. And I really like the battery duster. It has a 27-foot extension pole and stuff like that. And there's not much I can't hit with it, whereas whenever you use the hand duster like that, you gotta use ladders a lot more to get up to stuff. It makes the jobs harder and take longer. Whenever you're doing as many calls as I do, you try and get as many jobs done as possible. You gotta get them done as quickly as possible. And you see me dumping the excess dust in my pail there, that way you don't have any runoff or anything like that. I always try to preserve as much dust as possible. You don't want to minimize waste. I try to be very focused and mindful of the environment when I'm doing this. And there you see my old reliable grocery bag. A lot of people kind of mock me for using grocery bags. Why don't you use a trash bag? And I mean, trash bags are cheap. I could easily afford a trash bag. They're not like they're expensive. I do the grocery bags because it's a single-use plastic. I like to recycle them. I mean, I'm just like anybody else where I have a very large collection of grocery bags under my kitchen sink, just like you do. And rather than just throw them away, I reuse them here. It's a great vehicle for putting, wasp, hornet, yellow jacket nests in, and it works pretty well. And there you see my folding ladder. That's from Warner. I love that ladder. You see my 21-footer over there. That ladder there, I actually got it on sale from Home Depot for $95 in the spring. I couldn't believe it. It's a 21-foot ladder. Whereas the other one, it's a little more expensive, the ones from Warner, but they're a fold-up ladder versus the ones that have a single fold and then you slide the legs. I actually prefer the ones that fold up like an accordion. A little more compact. That way I can fit more stuff in the back of my truck there without having to put a ladder rack on it. Because, I mean, there aren't really many jobs where I need to use more than a 21-foot ladder. So if I can avoid having that ladder rack on the truck, that's an expense I don't have to pay for now. It's fuel economy. I don't have to worry about it. I can now get my truck washed in regular car washes. Whereas with a ladder rack, you can't do that. And those are the things you have to really think about when you're running a business. Just watching YouTube videos, you may not have ever thought of those types of things, but those considerations always have to go into it. So this is a yellow jacket nest that I'm going up to get, and it's up on the peak of the house over top of a lower roof. So what I do is I put the ladder up on that lower roof and grabbing my equipment to head up the ladder. And you just kind of go up, and it was within reach from the upper roof there. So here you can see me going up the ladder. And there's a lot of training actually goes into walking on roofs. You got to judge whether one is too steep to go up. What's the roof made out of? If it's slate, you may not want to go on that because slate shingles can break off easily. Nice asphalt roof on a newer house like this, not too many worries, but you know, you'd be surprised. And there's the nest. It was a pretty decent sized one. And you know, with my GoPro here, actually it's not a GoPro. It's a action cam. I don't remember the name brand of it here. Crosstour. I got the name brand right here. There's a that's a drone. That's a male yellow jacket that I was just holding right there. It was kind of big, so I thought it might have been the queen when I first grabbed it, but upon closer inspection, it didn't have the right shape for a queen. Drones just kind of look like bigger yellow jackets. The queen has a real distinct shape to her abdomen. So right now I'm pumping this dust into that nest from the entrance. The reason I do that is they all come out to escape the entrance, to either escape the hive or to come out and attack you. So if you're pumping the dust into the entrance, they're getting the dust on them as they are escaping. That way you know they're not going to go out and you know, survive. And here's a good look at the inside of the nest. You can see the many layers of paper they put around the comb. See, the yellow jackets make those layers of comb and they lay their eggs in it. They don't pollinate, so they lay eggs in it and they feed and water those eggs, and as they turn into larvae and stuff, and pupate and go out and become little yellow jackets. And so, you know, I pumped that dust into the nest, completely removed that nest, and then here I am. I'm using bifenthrin. That is a liquid permethrin. It affects their nervous system. It's very similar to the pyrethroid dust that I use. I generally mix Tempo and Delta as my pyrethroid powders. So it's not actually a smoke that I'm blowing into those nests. It's a dust that I blow in. And I blow with air pressure because it fills in the whole inside compartment, whatever they're getting into. Whenever you're in a nest for common yellow jackets out like this, it's maybe not as important to fill up that whole interior compartment. But whenever it's like in a wall or something, you want to really have that air pressure. So I'm basically spraying it down really nicely with that bifenthrin. And the reason I do that is you got 20% of the nest out getting food. You get the ones that escape while I'm doing this. And they have to come back. Their instinct is to rebuild the nest. You'd think maybe they'd go start a nest somewhere else, but the queen is the only one that starts nests. These yellow jackets are going to come back and try and rebuild the nest that they already have. And so we use that instinct against them by leaving some pesticide on the little bit of paper that's left behind. And by doing that, we know they're going to get into it and they come back to try and rebuild, and takes care of the rest of them. That allows you to do it during the day, which whenever you're doing 20 jobs a day, you have to be able to do it during the day. I can't be knocking on people's doors at 2 in the morning to do this. You know, whenever you're a professional, you can't really do that. So you have to find what products allow you to do these things during the day and go ahead and take care of them. And so as you see, the actual job's really quick. I mean, it's partly because I've been doing this for so long, I just know how to do these quickly. You can't discount experience. But yeah, all you go up and do it, and then you come back and put your equipment away, and that's it. So thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe.